Start Kuftes Amud Aleph. We've been learning a machlokes between Reb Nachman and Reb Sheshes. Kuftes. Let's see if this reaches. There you go. That's it. Good. Yeah. Have to plug it in all the way or else it won't go. Okay, it's 109A. Machlokes Reb Nachman and Reb Sheshes. Someone that serves in the temple. Someone that serves in the temple of Chanya.
We're down here.
Careful, that chair is very low. If you're comfortable, good. Otherwise, there's other chairs. Someone that served in the temple of Chanya, can he then go and serve in the Bais Hamikdash, or has he been disqualified? So everyone agreed that if someone shechted, if someone served for idolatry, everyone agreed that if someone shechted a sacrifice for idolatry, that he's not disqualified if he did it by mistake. That means he didn't realize that it was a sin. We then said that anyone that does the other services, sprinkling the blood, if he does it on purpose, is disqualified. We had two questions, two things that were an argument. If he sprinkles the blood by mistake, not by mistake, but he doesn't know that it's forbidden to sprinkle the blood, he didn't realize that this was considered idolatry. Or if he slaughters a sacrifice on purpose. So we said that was going to be a machlokes Reb Nachman and Reb Sheshes, where Reb Nachman would say the person is allowed back to serve in the temple. It's not considered that he served to idolatry. We quoted a verse in Yechezkel that disqualifies anyone that worshipped once to an idol, that he now cannot go back to the temple to serve. We said that he could be treated like a kohen that had a mum, that he can eat from the sacrifice, but he can't do the actual service. But we said that shechita was not necessarily a service. However, Rav Sheshes said that it doesn't matter because if he does it on purpose, that was the final thing that we learned yesterday, if he does it on purpose, he's still disqualified. Now we have Va'ozdul Tamayu, it's 3 lines from the bottom. And we say that Rav Sheshes and Rav Nachman, they go according to their opinions.
Why do you know? 3 lines are long.
The itmar, the word itmar, is a compound word. It is amar, which means it has been stated, which is always used whenever we quote Amirayim. It's a statement. Now, Amirayim would say their statements in Hebrew, and they would discuss it in Aramaic, but their quotes were in Hebrew. Hizid b'shchita. If he's deliberate, he does it on purpose. He does a slaughtering for an idol on purpose. He knows what he's doing. Rav Nachman Amar Karbani Reach Nichayach. When he comes back to the temple, his sacrifice is a sweet smell to Hashem. It means it's accepted. Rav Sheshes Amar Ein Karbani Reach Nichayach. Sheshes says no. If he slaughtered an animal for Avodah Zarah on purpose, he can't come back. Even though before we discussed that the shechita isn't necessarily an actual service, because you can use a non-kohen to do shechita. Nevertheless, this is what Rav Sheshes holds, that he can't come back to the temple. Rav Nachman Amar Karbani Reach Nichayach. Rav Nachman says his sacrifice afterwards would be an acceptable sacrifice to Lo Yavid Sheirus. He didn't serve. Slaughtering an animal is not serving an idol. It's not even in the temple. You don't need a kohen to do that. Rav Sheshes Amar Ein Karbani Reach Nichayach. Rav Sheshes says no. His sacrifice is not accepted afterwards. Nasa Misharis La'avedas Kichavim. He became a servant to idolatry. That means, the fact is, he served. He didn't do the technical service that would, but he was working there. He did a service there. Amar of Nachman. Nachman says, Mina amin Allah. How do I know what I'm saying? Titania, because I have an earlier source. I have a brisa. Kayin she'avad avedus kechavim. A kayin that worshipped idols. V'shav. And then he repents. Karbanei reach nichayach. His sacrifice is accepted. V'mai. What? When we say he worshipped idols, what did he do? And how did he do it? Eily b'shoigeg. If it was by mistake. So, my b'shav, what does it mean he then repented? Shav v'imitu. He never wanted to do it. The whole thing was is repentance. That's the term that they're using here. Because the assumption here is repentance is going to be for something that you did deliberately, and then you regret what you did. But here, the whole thing was a mistake. If he would have known, he never would have done it. So why we're saying v'shav and then he repented? It's not that he then repented. He never wanted it. It can't be we're talking about that he did it by mistake. Ela pshita b'mezid. It must be, if he's repenting, it must have been that he did it deliberately. The ibis rika, now we have a problem. What did he do? If he sprinkled the blood, kishav my havid, when he returns, when he repents, so what? Ha'avid le'shirus. He's not accepted back. We just said that his sacrifice, the person that repents, his sacrifice is accepted. But if, as Rav Nachman just proved, it needs to be that he did it on purpose. And if we're talking about zrika, then not zrika on purpose, he can't come back. Elalav b'shchita. It must have been that he sacrificed an animal. Aha, he sacrificed an animal on purpose. That tells me that if you repent afterwards, you can come back to the temple and you can serve. That's Rav Nachman's proof. He has an earlier brisa that says that repentance is accepted, and he proves it. He proves that it's referring to slaughtering an animal, and it was done on purpose. Rav Sheshis would say to you, "Li'olam b'shoigig." Actually, that is talking about shchita, but it's talking about that it was done by mistake. He didn't realize that it was idolatry. V'hachi kamar, and this is what it's saying. Im shav mi karai. If he repented from originally, that means the chiyavad b'shoigig avad. When it says he repented, it means to say that he never intended to do it. It doesn't mean to say that he did it deliberately and then he repented. It means he was always in a state of repentance. I made it, the way I translated it was Vishav, and like sequential. He then repented. That's not how Rav Sheshis is reading it. Rav Sheshis is reading it, if it was done in a way of like regret, that he never wanted this, if this is something that he never wanted, so then Karbani reich nichayach be'im lav. But if not, that means if he did it on purpose, then in Karbani reich nichayach, then his sacrifice is not accepted. I just realized we're supposed to call Chaim.
Let me see. Give me a second. I didn't realize that. I didn't know you wanted it. I'll do it right now.
Okay. So we're discussing the machlekes of Nachman and Rav Sheshis. Rav Sheshis goes on, and Rav Nachman go on. Their opinions continue. Let's say someone bowed down. He prostrated himself in front of an idol. Rav Nachman Amar Kabani Reach Nichayach. Rav Nachman says, well, when he comes back to serve in the temple, he's accepted, and the sacrifice is accepted. Rav Sheshis Amar Ein Kabani Reach Nichayach. Rav Sheshis says no. His sacrifice is not accepted. Let's say he just acknowledged an idol. He said about an idol, this is my God. So he didn't do a service, but he said something that was accepting the idol. So Rav Nachman Amar Kabani Reich Nichayach. Rav Nachman says his sacrifice is accepted. Rav Sheshis Amar Ein Kabani Reich Nichayach. Rav Sheshis says his sacrifice is not accepted. We're holding Kuf Tes Amud Bais, and we're up to let's see. I don't know, maybe like 12, 13 lines down. Utzricha is the beginning of the line. We just had many different cases. Let's see. Shoigig, Shchita by mistake. We had Mishtachava, if he bows. We have the first case I missed. First case was Zrika by mistake, and Shchita on purpose. Then if he bows to an idol, and then if he acknowledges an idol. So it's 4 cases where Rav Sheshes and Rav Nachman argue. The Gemara now says, Utzricha, we need each one of these arguments. And we wouldn't have been able to say that if we would have known one of them, we would have understood all the rest. Why? Because if we would have known one of them, we would have assumed that the other one they agreed to. In either way, either Rav Nachman agreed to Rav Sheshes or Rav Sheshes agreed to Rav Nachman. So that's why he needs to specify all of these 4 cases to tell me that there's this argument in each one. The Yashminan Hach Kamaisa. Because if it would have only said the first one, and Kamaisa means the first one is a mistake by Zrika. Zrika is sprinkling the blood. Where Rav Sheshes said he cannot come back, and Rav Nachman says that he can. Bahahi Kamar Rav Sheshes, and that one Rav Sheshes says that he can't come back and do the service Shem David Leishiris because he served for an idol. Aval Shchita. But if he just did a slaughtering, which is not the Loyavid Leishiris, which is not considered serving an idol, Rav Nachman, we would say that he would agree to Rav Nachman that this Kayan can come back and serve in the temple. V'yashmin and Shchita, and if he would have told us Shchita, they argue about Shchita on purpose for an idol. Mishum da'avad le'avoida, because that still is one of the parts of a sacrifice, even though it's not considered the actual serving, but it is an integral part of a sacrifice, and that's a service in the temple. He bowed down. That's not a temple service, bowing down. So maybe then Eily. Maybe Rav Sheshes would agree that he can come back and serve. He never did a temple service. He can come back and serve in the temple, even though he bowed to an idol. So tzricha, we need to say that Rav Sheshes disagrees over there as well, that he can't come back. If he would have told me that bowing down he can't come back, Mishum David le'maisav, well, he did something. We saw what he did. He bowed down. He can't come serve in the temple. Aval haida, but if he just acknowledges the idol, the dibur ba'alma, that's just speech. The speech doesn't matter. Eily, we would say that that's nothing. So tzricha has to tell us that no, Rav Sheshes says that even by speech he can't come and serve in the temple. Okay.
Well, you did Hishtachava twice. I didn't catch why it was.
Well, we started off with saying that if it would say Shchita.
No, but Hishtachava here was twice.
Well.
Hishtachava was in the answer to the previous
I wouldn't
one.
have known Hishtachava.
Okay.
Because I would have said that Hishtachava is not a temple service. Shchita is. So maybe over there Rav Sheshes would agree. And if it would say Hishtachava, then I wouldn't have known speech. So it's like...
It was one number unknown.
It's like layered here, so it works its way. And it goes without saying that someone that worshipped for idolatry, he can't serve in the temple. This is after the Mishnah said that someone that served by Chanya should not serve in the temple. Chanya is the temple in Alexandria. It was a breakaway temple. We're going to learn about now. So for sure, if he serves for idolatry, from the fact that it says, it goes without saying that if Chanya invalidates a Kayan from serving in the temple, it goes without saying that someone that worships idol is invalid. So from the fact that it says it goes without saying, that tells me that serving idols is worse than Chanya. That tells me. That implies the Bais Chanya it must mean that Chanya was not idolatry. Right? because it says, it goes without saying, someone that worshipped idols. That means that Chanya was not idol. So, Tanya, we have a brisa, Kamanda Amar Bais Chanya Lav Avedis Kichavamu, that teaches, like the opinion, that Bais Chanya was not idolatry. This is a historical discussion. Like, what was going on there? And how did it all start? And based on how it started, it's interesting that we can actually have a machlekes on what the story was. The Tanya, it was taught in a brisa. That year that Shimon HaTzadik died, Shimon HaTzadik was the remnant of the Anshe Knesset G'dayla. And he was the Kohen Gadol. So Amar Lehem, he says to them, I guess the other Kohanim, Shanazu hu meis. This year he's going to die. He doesn't refer to himself. He's supposed to, say something bad. He refers to in third person. So he says this year he's going to die, referring to himself. Yerushalmi, it doesn't have it. Yerushalmi has a story. It actually says Shanazu ani meis. That's what it was in the Yerushalmi's text. Amrulai, they said to him, Minayin ati yedeya. How do you know? Amar lehem, he tells them, Kol Yom Kippurim, every Yom Kippur, Nizdaman li zaken echad. It appears to me an elderly man, lavash levanim, that's dressed in white, benesatif levanim, and is wrapped in white. His nesatif is like his head is wrapped in white. Benichnasimi v'yatzeimi. He comes in with me to the Holy of Holies and he leaves with me. Shanazu, this year, Nizdaman li zaken echad. It appeared to me an old man, lavash chayrim, dressed in black. V'nesatif shchayim, he's wrapped in black. V'nichnasimi v'layatzimi, he came in with me, and he didn't leave with me. If you notice, Tosfos quotes the Yerushalmi that we have a verse that says that no man can be in the sanctuary when the Kohen Gadol goes in there, and when it says Kol Adam, no man shall be there, it actually says that it's referring to even an angel. So no matter how you're going to regard this man, you have a problem here with this story, because you can't whether it's a man or an angel, he can't be there. So the Yerushalmi gives an answer that it was the Shechina. It wasn't really it wasn't a man or an angel. It was the Shechina. I don't know how the Kabbalists are going to explain that. The simple answer would be, without looking at the Yerushalmi, it would be that Nizdamanli, in my mind, Nizdamanli, it was a vision, not an actual. That would be an easy way out, but the Yerushalmi doesn't say that. Okay. The source for wearing white or wearing dark, this is quoted that for the source that at weddings people wear white clothes and at funerals they wear dark clothes. This is the source for the when it's La'achar haregel, after the holiday, Chol Shivas Yamim, he was sick for 7 days. Umeis, and he died. Which holiday are you referring to? I assume that it's Sukkot. No, it doesn't tell me. But it was just Yom Kippur, so probably now it's Sukkot. From then on, the Kohanim refrained from saying the blessing when using God's name in this discussion, which name it's referring to, the 4-letter Yud Kei Vav Kei, or if it's the 42-letter, different commentaries here. In other words, after he passed away, they didn't want to do that for whatever reason, either because they didn't want other people to hear it, or they were afraid they weren't on the right level. Shas Petirasa Yamar, at the time of his passing, Shimon HaTzadik said, Amar Lahem, Chanya b'ni yishamish tachtei. Chanya, my son, will serve after me. Now, Chanya had an older brother, Shimi. He was immediately insulted, and he became jealous. This is like exactly our Torah portion, right? So he was 2 years older, and Chanya, the younger brother, is now taking over the kahuna. Amalai, he says to him, so Shimi, the older one, says to Chanya, come, let me show you what you need to do, what to do to serve. Hilbishu ba'unkali. He dressed him up in an unkali. Unkali, Rashi says, is a leather garment, leather clothing. Or it could be some sort of cloak or something. Something that wasn't, whatever it is, whatever the commentaries are going to translate, they're all saying the same thing, that it wasn't one of the priestly garments. So, in Chagru B'Tziltzil, and they put on him a belt. Also, not a type that wasn't one of the garments. And Midu Eitel Mizbeach, and he brought him close to the Mizbeach. And then once he's there, he starts to video him. No, he says, Amar Lehem Lechav HaKayanim, he says to the Kayanim, Ru'u ma nadar zeh b'kiyim la'ovasei. Look at the vow that this person took and how he's fulfilling it to his beloved, referring to either his wife or to his girlfriend. That look at what this person's doing. That day that I'm going to serve as the Kohen Gadol, I'm going to wear your cloak, I'm going to wear your belt.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it means he's wearing a lady's clothing or if it means the gift that she gave him. Doesn't explain really. But he's making a fool out of him, and he dressed it. This is all a setup. So Bikshu Echav HaKayanim lahargai. His brothers, the brother Kayanim, the other Kayanim that are there, they want to kill Chanyai. Ratz mipneim, he runs away from them. He's, V'ratz acharav, they run after him. Halach l'Alexandria shel Mitzrayim. He makes his way to Alexandria. V'bana sham mizbeach. He builds an altar. V'helo alav l'shem avedus kichavim, and he brings on it for idolatry. There's some things in the story we have to just go back and discuss. But when the sages heard about this, Amru, they said, look, Shimi wasn't even the Kohen Gadol. He never was the Kohen Gadol. He was just the brother of the Kohen Gadol. And nevertheless, he was so jealous that he set up his brother to get killed. Can you imagine if someone was a Kohen Gadol and you would take it away from him, how much he would do he would for sure kill in order to keep his position. He never even had the position. He was ready to kill to get the position. It's the power of the prestige that. Okay, Div Reb Meir. This is the words of Reb Meir.
One of the desire to go with find presence to be with you. That's all the vision of the
That's very nice. That's very nice. It's very nice. It's interesting that the Gemara wasn't so generous. Gedalia is saying that maybe it wasn't jealousy. He wanted to be with the Shechina. But it seems that they had a more of a negative view about him. We have a question here. It's so strange. Shimon HaTzadik chooses Chanya, and Chanya doesn't know that a Kohen Gadol doesn't dress in leather. What does he think? He's a motorcyclist? Like where was Chanya when his father was Kohen Gadol for so many years? I forget how many years it says Shimon HaTzadik lived, but it says I think he lived a long time. And where was he? So how did he not know the most basic thing? Taisva says, he didn't know what the Kohen Gadol wore by the inauguration, and he never saw the inauguration. He thought maybe the inauguration is different.
But then he flips out right away, and he goes to worship idols.
Yeah. Well, Tesis mentions one other point, which that makes it even more difficult. He says that when you have someone that serves under his father, he's supposed to be that he is eligible to serve under his father, and he didn't even know the service his brother has to teach him. What does it mean that he would be able to serve in place of his father if he wasn't qualified at all? So Tesis says, well, maybe he was qualified because he was God-fearing, but he wasn't qualified in knowledge, but he was qualified in ehrlichkeit, sincerity. He was okay. Amar lei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda responds to Reb Meir. Lei kacha yamaisa. You got the story wrong. That wasn't the story. Ela lei kibel of Chanya. Shimon HaTzadik, yes, he said that Chanya should be the one. But Chanya said, no, how could I be the one? I have an older brother. I'm not accepting it. My brother should be the Kohen Gadol. It sounds very nice. But nevertheless, Chanya was still jealous of his brother. He puts his brother in place, in the position, but he's unhappy about it. And he's jealous. Amalai, he tells his brother, his older brother, come, I'm going to teach you the service. He'll be Shubonkali. He sets up Shimei. He dresses him in this garment, whether leather or whatever. In this belt. He puts him by the altar. And then and then he shouts out to his brothers, the Kayanim. He says, look at what this person vowed and he fulfilled to his beloved. Now it's not Chanya that's wearing this, it's Shimi that's wearing this by Chanya's tutelage. He's having him wear this, and he's saying that this was a vow that he took to his beloved, that he's going to wear her clothing when he's going to serve. The Kainim want to kill Shimi. Sachlam Kalamuri, he says, hold on, listen to the story. It's not what it appears. I did this because Chanya told me to do this.
Whoa.
So Bikshal Argas Chanya, they turned around, they start running after Chanya. Ratz Mipneim, Chanya runs away from them. V'ratzu Achra, and they run after him. Ratz Lebeis HaMelech, he runs to the house of the king. It's unclear what this is. I don't know how the English is going to explain. Either that's a place, or there maybe was a king then. I don't know if there was a king. Maybe Zerubbabel is considered a king. Who could have been around? Maybe, how could there be a king's house? Maybe it's just a place. Or maybe it was a non-Jewish king that had a house. Baratzu Acharav, they ran after him. In Kolaraya, he was hiding there. But anyone that would see him, I guess he was under protection in this house. But whoever would see him, Aimer, Zehu Zeh. Zehu. This is him, that's him. Look, that's the guy that did that terrible thing. So Halach Alexandria, he went to Alexandria Shel Mitzrayim, Banasham Mizbeach, he built an altar there. The Hello Olav L'Shem Shemayim. And it was an altar for God. Shenemar, and he quotes a verse. Does the verse have, you skipped Vahaya. It says, Bayayim Hahu, Yiyam Mizbeach L'Hashem B'teich Eretz Mitzrayim, Atzeva Eitzel Gvula L'Hashem. That on that day there'll be an altar for God in the land of Egypt. And further. You're just looking at looking at how much we accomplished. So we're just about to go up here, so we're done here. So I'm sorry. Yeah, when the Chacham heard this, Amru, they said, Mazeh shebarach mimeno, this one that ran away from the greatness, from the position. Who ran away from the position? Chanya. Chanya didn't want to be the Kohen Gadol. He said, my brother is older than me, he should be the Kohen Gadol. And nevertheless, he's ready to get his brother killed. Can you imagine if someone wanted to get the position, what they would do to have that political position and to be in that place? What he would do to get the position? Like, you can't take it away from someone that has this position because of how dangerous it would be. That's like what's being described here. Taisus has an excellent question. How does Chanya, according to Rabbi Yehuda, make a mizbeach l'shem shemayim? You're not allowed to bring sacrifices outside the temple. He's doing a sin just by doing it. How does he do it l'shem shemayim when it's an outright sin, a severe sin, like it incurs kares? It's like eating on Yom Kippur. It's not a simple sin. He says that he wasn't bringing the sacrifices. He set up the temple, and it wasn't for Jews. It was a temple for Bnei Noach. they would bring their sacrifice. Yeah, this at a Bnei Noach temple in Alexandria with the Jewish priest that was facilitating these sacrifices.
Whoa, it's a good defense lawyer.
Okay, Tanya, starting in a Bais. I'm Rabbi Shua ben Prachia. Rabbi Shua ben Prachia says, Shua ben Prachia is one of the Zugais. He's one of the early Tanaim. And he was together with Nitai Eily. Shua ben Prachia and Nitai Eily. Right? Shua ben Prachia and Nitai Eily, is that how it goes? Whichever name was said first, he's the Nasi. That means he's the prince of the community. The second name, Nitai Eily, would have been the head of the Bezdin, the Av Bezdin. Nasi and Av Bezdin. So Yeshua ben Prachia says, he's famous for being the teacher of Yashka, by the way. Yeshua ben Prachia, that's whenever it's mentioned, because the Gemara quotes him that he had a student, the whole story is said. B'tchila, originally, Kala Imar Alayla, whoever would tell me, go up to the position, referring to Nasi probably, he says, Ani kaifse v'nais lifnei hari. I would bind him and put him in front of a lion. In other words, what you're trying to harm me. He was to put him into a position of power. Ata, but now, kala aimer li leired mimena. Anyone that tells me go off the position, ani matalav kumkan shalcham, and I'll pour in him a thermos of hot water. Shri Shaul baruch mimena, because Shaul, his example is Shaul, King Shaul, kisha'ala. Shaul baruch mimena. When they were looking to anoint Shaul, he was hiding. He didn't want to be found. He was hiding amongst the baggage. Nechbel akelim, it says. He was hiding by the Uksha'Allah. But when he became king, Bikesh Laragas David. He's ready to kill David, who he thinks is a usurper that wants to take the kingdom from him. So this is what Yeshua ben Prachia, Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachia is saying, is that originally I wouldn't have ever taken this position, but now, however, I got into the position. Now I can't give it up. And someone said, one of the shluchim, he said, originally when I went on shlichus, so it was Mesiras Nefesh. He says, now if the Rebbe would tell me to leave, it would be Mesiras Nefesh. Which is a very interesting thought. Because you build up, it becomes... Okay. Amalei Mar Kashisha Breder Rav Chisda LaAbaya. Mar Kashisha, Rav Chisda's son, says to Abaya, there's two opinions when it says Mar Kashisha. Kashish means old. So he had two sons. He had a Mar Kashisha and Mar Yenuka. And Mar Kashisha doesn't mean that he was born to Rav Chisda when he was old. When Rav Chisda was old, which means he's the younger one. And Mar Yenuka